Okay, and I think we can get started with our introduction. I'll introduce myself. My name is Jennifer Clayton. I am the New York State Bar Association's Wellbeing Program Manager. And with that, we are looking to address attorney wellness from all facets. And we have the 8 pillars of attorney well-being, recognizing that there are so many things that go into balancing a healthy career. One of those pillars of attorney well-being is the social wellness pillar. And for that, we have brought in our guest speaker today, Jason Levin. And Jason is founder of Ready Set Launch, which is I'll let him share more about the initiative of that program, that company, but ultimately trying to improve interpersonal connections and really come together as humans to connect. I think we see that a lot in the wellness space, in the when we're experiencing stress, is this isolation. Um, we know that things that contribute to mental health, substance use, and suicide are isolation. So, what we can do from the Bar Association perspective is try and have these conversations about the importance of connection. And so, with that, I'm happy to introduce Jason here today with us. Jason, welcome.
Jennifer, thank you. Thank you so much. I want to wish everybody a very happy Friday. Greetings from Washington, D.C. But New York is near and dear to my heart. I was born in Brooklyn. My parents were from the Bronx and Brooklyn. I'm actually fourth generation New Yorker. So I know the value of good Chinese food, a good bagel, and a good slice of pizza, which I continue to not find in the D.C. area, but that's okay. We can still, continue to discuss. A little bit about me. I am an attorney by marriage. So I speak attorney, but I'm not one. And Ready Set Launch has existed for 12 years. I'm a speaker, trainer, coach, helping attorneys either develop in their own careers, or if you're within a law firm, within your own business development efforts. So before we begin, and Jennifer, I love how you're starting us off on this notion and need for connection. I think it's foundational, and I think it's also apropos that we're entering into Thanksgiving, the holiday season, and so I think the things that we're going to be talking about today actually dovetail nicely with the season that we're in. To just get a better sense of the folks on the line, I've just 2 poll questions. Jennifer, would you mind running them? So the first is, how many years of experience do you have? And the second is, so why are you here? I signed up for this webinar because, and it would be fantastic to just get a sense of the folks on the line before we kick things off. So we'll give that, another 20 or 30 seconds. So how many years of experience do you have? And that's post-law school. And I signed up for this webinar because I would like to improve my ability to connect with my colleagues. I'd like to improve my ability to connect with clients and prospects. I would like to improve my ability to create an authentic social network, or all of the above. So, alrighty. Just a couple more seconds. And then Jennifer, can you show the responses to it? All righty. So we've got a mix of folks on the line. 30% just new into their careers. Welcome. 40% with a good deal of experience, 15 to 22 years. And then we got 30% between 22 to 30 years. And then folks that have even more experience than 30 beyond. All of the above for most of the folks on the line. So I think we've all come to the right place. That is fantastic. So here are the rules of engagement. So I said, I'm originally from Brooklyn. I grew up from New Jersey. I am kind. I believe all questions are good questions. We are in a circle of trust, safe space. I'm going to make this interactive. There are going to be questions throughout this presentation. So don't think for a moment that you're just going to sit and do something else. Okay, that's not this type of webinar. My hope is when we begin, you have some type of writing implement or a piece of paper, or you have a Word file open. So I want to just kick that off, that I want everybody, whether you're on screen or not, that's totally fine, but we're going to be working through a series of exercises, okay? And by the end of this, we'll have Keeping in Touch demystified. So I'm going to share my screen right now. So, it's really interesting what Jennifer was talking about when we talk about social connection and then its importance to wellness. And it's something that I've been noticing even after I wrote my book, Relationships to Infinity, The Art and Science of Keeping in Touch, which came out 1.5 years ago. So even after my book came out, when I was looking at the authentic and social science-backed things that we need as human beings, what are we noticing in society, even in 2023? Well, at the beginning of the year, the Surgeon General wrote a white paper on our epidemic of loneliness and isolation in America. And he was noticing these different pillars of our need for connection. Even in the state of New York, in the last 2 weeks, the last thing I would ever think that I would be talking about Dr. Ruth, the sex therapist, has now become the New York State ambassador on loneliness, because it is so important. And I'd love to do her accent, but it's just not good enough. But the fact that, she has brought so much to us, and in her 90s, tackling such an important issue. And then finally, reading in the Washington Post last month, COVID flipped the introvert-extrovert script, and I hate it. So we're all feeling not only this notion of loneliness, but it's even harder to have these interactions because we've lost that muscle. So clearly, this is something that's important. Jennifer described some of the social emotional things that we need around connection. So I want to first kick things off with what you're already doing well. In the chat, what's one thing you like to do to keep in touch with your network? Personal network, privately? What's one thing that you like to do to keep in touch with your network? And, safe space. So put in the chat. I'm curious, what are people doing? I'm going to pull up the chat so we can read it. Or Jennifer, did you want to read it as things were coming in? What's one thing you like to do? What's coming in, Jennifer?
Nothing yet. We'll keep an eye on it. Oh, we have email and text from Christine.
Okay.
Send text.
Email and text. Absolutely. Got it. What else? See, I told you this is going to be interactive. I'm going to be asking you questions.
I would have to assume some people are on social media.
Phone calls. Old school. Love it. Meet up with friends and go to dinner or a girls' weekend. Love that. Arrange coffee and luncheons. Absolutely. Make phone calls. I love that phone calls are on the list. I don't know if you saw, there was an article a couple of weeks ago on the death of the voicemail. And I was like, well, hold on a second here. The death of a voicemail. I mean, I think that's also situational and also generational. And they were talking about like how certain people, don't want to leave a voicemail, but if you leave the voicemail, it might say something about you. I still think phone calls work. So, well, excellent. So we already got some folks that are doing some really good things. Check, respond to social media accounts. Definitely a way to connect and reconnect. So how do we think about this from a 30,000-foot perspective? We use the word network all the time, but I want to share with you how the academics see this, because I think this can be instructive for all of us. So, excuse me. So there's a body of research from management theorists, organizational behavior experts, social scientists around something called network theory, where at one time they just used to think that we were just a group of just individuals, and now we're actually groups of people. The most important piece of research that came out to anchor in what we call a network was actually Mark Granovetter, who was a researcher that developed the concept of the strength of weak ties. He was interested in either researching how people found their spouses or how people found jobs. And he eventually came in and said, you know what, I'm going to research how people find jobs, and decided to interview a group of managers in a suburb of Boston. And he was curious about, okay, so how did you find your job? Was it through, some type of newspaper clipping? Again, this is 1973. Or was it through an individual? And people started saying, yes, it was through individuals. And then he was interested in well, what was your relationship with that person? Was it somebody that you knew really, really well? Or was it someone that was more of an acquaintance? And what the feedback was from this research is that unequivocally, people were finding their jobs through acquaintances. And so he developed the concept of the strength of weak ties, where he said that actually your looser social connections are just as important to you as your strong ones. Now, the strength of weak ties actually has been quoted in Google Scholar over 60,000 times. I learned about it in The Tipping Point. Malcolm Gladwell talks about 3 types of people: salespeople, mavens, and the concept of a connector. A connector is a type of person that brings people together. You should know each other. That notion of actual connection, real connection. And so the strength of weak ties goes beyond even this notion of finding a job, but how ideas are passed, how people are brought together. And so this is a very powerful and anchored idea in network theory. I mean, I just shared today in the Wall Street Journal, they quoted the strength of weak ties just today, where they were saying that you probably know over 600 people, and here are some ways to think about it, and they were quoting the strength of weak ties. The next piece is dormant ties, the value of reconnecting. Levin, Walter, Merningham in 2011. And this is not a relative of mine. His name is Daniel Levin. The only thing we have in common is that he grew up in the DC area, and now he lives in New Jersey. I had spent some time in New Jersey, and now I'm in the DC area. We both compared our commitment to falafel and other things. But what they did based on strength of weak ties, they were really interested in the value of advice. So they went to a group of executives and they said, all right, take a current business problem and share it with someone that you currently know. And then take that same business problem and share it with people that you've lost touch with. The way they defined the study was losing touch with someone for at least 3 years or more. And as they were rating and ranking what their executives were saying about the quality of advice and the things that were useful, what was really interesting is that the executive said, the people we've lost touch with by at least 3 years, they're giving us better ideas. They're giving us better insights. They're giving us better perspective. And so then the researchers further concluded, well, how is this possible? How is it that the people that you lose touch with actually make you smarter? Well, what they concluded was the people you lose touch with, they go on to have new experiences. The people you lose touch with go on to build new networks. And the people you lose touch with actually have a new view of the world. So when we look at your relationship set, when you think about your network, I share my love language with you. I'm an MBA and a consultant, and so I've got my own 2x2 matrix, of course. So each of you have current strong ties. These are tight relationships with whom you're actively in touch. Very close family members, very close friends. You're a tight-knit group where you're saying, you know what, when I need something, I'm going to reach out to these types of people. You also have a set of dormant strong ties. These were folks that you had close relationships, but then you lost touch. That close friend from high school or college or law school, where, maybe when you were in law school, you were part of a study group that used to meet all the time. And now, because of, life events, they're on a different coast. Or you had a close associate of yours that's moved on to another firm or went in-house or went to a social mission nonprofit. So all of us have dormant, strong ties, these folks that At one time, you had a strong relationship, and then it just became dormant. We also have current weak ties. These are our colleagues. These are the clients we're working with. These are the folks we see in the grocery store, if we're still going there, not ordering off of some type of app. Or this is the crossing guard at the street. This is your postal worker. These are folks that you're in your social set. And of course, then there's dormant weak ties. These are acquaintances where you've lost touch. So often when we use the word, hey, you have a network, or leverage your network, if we're not talking about the strength of our ties and the current or dormancy of our ties, then we're not actually talking about the totality of our network. So I share to each of you this framework to think about all of the people that are in your universe. So we could even do a deeper dive on this. What if you were to go, if we were to use that 3-year continuum, who were the folks that you were working with at this time last year, in 2021, in 2020? Who were the folks that you were interacting with from a professional sense? Did you have any client engagements if you're working at a firm? Are there folks that you used to work with that are in-house? What are the associations you're a part of? For example, you might be on a subcommittee with the New York State Bar Association. These are folks that are in your sphere when you think about your network. And of course, there's family and friends. There are your university law grad school alumni and classmates. You might be part of some type of a social mission nonprofit. You might be on the board. You might be volunteering. You might have a place of worship. We're always in different versions of election years, or and you might be associating yourself with certain political affiliations. So when you think about the 4 quadrants, you can even start to write people's names down, which we're going to do right now based on this. I want you to draw the quadrants. We're going to take a minute or two, and then I want you to share in the chat who you're thinking of, not specific names, rather the type of person. So pick one current strong tie, one current weak tie, one dormant strong, one dormant weak. Okay. And trust me, this is a fun exercise because you're actually thinking of people that you're like, you know what? I've been meaning to reach out to. Finish the sentence. So one current strong, one current weak, one dormant strong, one dormant weak. And what you're going to start to realize is that when you get into this activity, more people pop up. But for the moment, we're going to keep it nice and simple. So as you're writing these out, when you think of folks that you've been, I want to get back in touch with so-and-so, or I haven't heard from so-and-so in a long time. What type of person are you thinking about reconnecting with? Let's put that in the chat. Excuse me, I'm in week 3 of a cough that I inherited from a family member in the house. So of a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old, and they just bring things home from school. Sometimes it's homework and sometimes it's other things. So, all right, so you're drawing the quadrants. You can either do that in a Word file or on a piece of paper. One current strong, one current weak, one dormant strong, and one dormant weak. What do we got in the chat? Who's excited? Who's excited to at least share? I've been thinking about reaching out to this law school classmate, my first mentor, my first client. I did a version of this at one law firm, and there was it was alums of the law firm. Oh, we got one. Let's see. Ooh, going through all of them. All right. Strong current, close law school friend. Very cool. Dormant current, close undergrad friend. Judge I interned for 2 years ago. Very nice. Dormant current, lawyer I did work for a few years ago. Love it. That's awesome. All right. So we got some actual people. That's really where you begin in the act of keeping in touch. And I was saying earlier that I had done this for a law firm for their alumni folks, and one of them is a law professor. And he said, I really never thought about it from me reaching out to my past students. Usually I was just expecting my students to keep in touch with me. There were actually some students that I liked, and I'm curious how they're doing. And so he used these quadrants to be able to do that. I had another attorney said, you know what? I really miss this group that I had from where we used to get together, Friday nights when I was in law school. And all right, strong current, my cousin. Nice. Hail to cousins. Cousins are important. Very, very cool. All right. And if you don't want to share, I totally understand. So let's keep this conversation going because we all understand. Oop, there was another one. Weak, dormant, childhood friend. Yes, friends from childhood. You realize that next month, my oldest son's having a bar mitzvah, and one of my childhood friends that was at my bar mitzvah is attending my son's bar mitzvah. How cool is that? And I haven't seen him in 2 years, right? So I'm excited for many reasons. And at the same time, I get a chance to see him, and he's bringing his son. So what do we got here? We got more. Strong current, best friends from when I was young. Dormant strong, question mark. All right, we can talk more. Yoga friends. Hail to yoga. My wife's a big yoga person. Dormant weak, law school friends. My wife does yoga every single day. God bless her. All right, so making friends takes time. So actually, there was a piece of research that I uncovered when I was writing my book that actually there's a time component to making friends. And what they began to realize is that it takes about 50 hours of interaction to move from an acquaintance to just a casual friend, 90 hours to move from casual friend to friend, and then 200 hours to qualify as a BFF, right? And so what we're talking about here, especially when it comes to dormancy of your ties, is that you think about, and this is one of the things that often I see when I'm doing these types of talks is I'm forgotten, they don't want to hear from me, I'm not that interesting, all of those things, when in reality, the time you've invested at work, in your private lives, social interactions, associative interactions, you've put in that time. And guess what? People remember and people want to hear from you. So often when we think about getting involved, during the height of lockdown, the pandemic, it was really the association community that kept people together, because it was one of those things where you can go on a webinar, you can, see your peers. What I'm saying to everybody is that whether you're in a professional association or community organization, one way to increase connection is to actually get more involved, to raise your hand, and if anything for 2024, take on a leadership role, because you're actually engaging in the act of connection, either for your vocation as attorneys or something that you actually care about. I'm curious in the chat, is anybody right now active in an association? What's it doing for them? So what association are you with? And it doesn't have to be specific if you don't want to be. But here's the cool thing, and I think it ties back to that earlier slide. The more you engage in associations, and I think too often we just classify them as a networking event, when in reality, if you engage in an association, you're going to hit your 50, 90, 200 in a very easy way, especially if we got one in the chat. Awesome. What do we got? We got some good stuff here. Okay. NYCBA and Law School Alumni Association. Awesome. Both very, very cool. Bar Association Mentoring Program. Oh my gosh. When I think about association involvement, this also dovetails into, and when you think about mentoring, I believe everybody on the line is a mentor and everybody on the line is a mentee. I don't care what age or stage you are in. And associations allow for that type of engagement. And let me just give a little bit more background, because too often I think we think of mentoring as some grand poobah distilling wonderful information to that junior person, and voila, a mentoring event has happened. Noticing the folks on the line that have more experience, 10 years, 15 years, 25 plus years, peer-to-peer mentoring becomes more important as you progress in your career. That's also an act of mentoring your circle, the people that you're engaging with. So the practice group in of court, love it. Love it. What else? NYSBA Animal Law Committee, very cool. Love it. Very nice. See, it's these types of interactions, it's the glue that keeps us together. So when we think through our personality, right? So often when we begin to think about, all right, we have a network, we all understand it, Jason, I got it, strong, weak ties, dormant, current, and then the voice comes out. Jason, you don't understand me. I don't have the personality type to do this. I am somehow flawed by the makeup of my humanness, that I am an introvert. And guess what? Too often, as someone who's married to an introvert, and a very wonderful, intelligent introvert, we often mistake what introversion actually is where you derive your energy from, being alone, in silence. And let me tell you, as a parent of 2 boys during virtual school, I found my introversion. Like at the height of the pandemic, I was hiding in the closet, finding my joy. Yes, I loved quiet, silence. It was fantastic. And if you're a true introvert, in its like extreme sense, like you can't even leave your house because you don't want to, interact with anyone. The interesting thing about introversion is that you have a superpower, the capacity to observe, the capacity to listen, the capacity to ask a question and actually hear the response. Introverts have many wonderful qualities. But what do we think about when we think about the act of networks and networking? Some grand event, everybody's, going around, and we see this wonderful person that's at ease and passing out cards, and I'm an extrovert, give me more people. And so their superpower is the ability to connect easily, to talk, to enjoy social engagement. But what's the weakness of the extrovert? Can't stop talking. For the love of all things, they can't stop talking. And so if you combine those things, I say hail to the ambivert. The ambivert actually was brought up in Daniel Pink's To Sell is Human, which is one of my favorite books on sales. And what he says is that actually, 1, sales is actually listening. And that 2, you might have someone that works in the function of sales or business development, but in reality, regardless of what function you're in, HR or law or whatever, we're all in sales. And what he uncovered in his research was that the moment you get to something to a level of complexity, let's say like legal services, we have to ask questions and ask further questions. What's the problem you're actually trying to solve? Oh, you have an antitrust issue. Oh, tell me more about that. Or you have an employment issue. Tell me more about that. That the folks that were able to sell the best and actually respond to the questions were the ambiverts. You're combining the extrovert in where you're initiating a conversation, but you're actually pulling in introvert qualities of listening and actually probing further. So here's the thing. Most of us within the bell curve are more ambiverts than we are introverts or extroverts. I just want to celebrate that we all can bring out our inner ambivert. So if you're getting these conversations and we're thinking about the people that we want to interact with, the one question I kept coming back to when I wrote this book, and when I think about keeping in touch, is we say keep in touch, we don't. Why? Why is it that we say keep in touch and we don't? If we actually aspire to keeping in touch, and Jennifer was talking about earlier about all the social wellness things that happen by our connection, then what's actually going on? And often in doing trainings and speaking engagements around, oh, well, why don't you just get back in touch with so-and-so? And then people will come up to me or say, let me tell you all the reasons why I can't. And it's beyond introversion or extroversion. And I would see these people, and it was almost as if they were trapped, no different than planes and ships getting lost in the Bermuda Triangle. I began to see a Bermuda keep in touch triangle. I went to the mental health community. I said, what is happening here when we say keep in touch? What are people actually feeling when they are about to act but can't? And the more I leaned into the psychology behind connection, there were three normal foundational emotions that I began to realize existed in why we struggle keeping in touch. The first is guilt. So now guilt is a feeling of shame or regret, where your mind is saying to yourself, I want to get back in touch with this person, but guess what? It's my fault that the relationship fizzled or ended or we're not in touch. When in reality, for no good reason, you're not in touch. It's nobody's fault. And so we often feel guilt when we think about connecting or reconnecting with someone. The second is fear. We are afraid that we're going to look stupid. We're afraid they're not going to respond to us. We're afraid they've forgotten us. There are all these normal fears, excuse me, we feel when we think about connecting and reconnecting. And that leads to worry. I'm not that important. I had done a training in a hospital system in Ohio, and someone had actually, an exec had come up to me after a training I had done. And actually it was in his plan for the upcoming year to build networks within his own organization in-house. He said, I just don't think I'm that interesting. And that worries me. So this is what traps us from actually connecting, reconnecting. So how do we rescue ourselves from our triangle and get that lifesaver out there? There are three things that you can actually do that are founded in social science. One is practice with a friend. I've been thinking about getting in touch with this person. What do you think? I'm thinking about this person. Should I send an email? Should I send a text? What should I do? Mini goals to form habits. That's what we're doing right now, using your 4 quadrants and saying, I'm not asking you to get back in touch with everybody you ever met. I'm just saying, pick one per quadrant and let's see what we can do between now and Thanksgiving. And journaling the most likely scenario. So this is something that also comes from psychology. So to get to the most likely scenario, and here's the cool thing, is that the moment that all of us take out a pen and a piece of paper, we go from emotional to logical. And if we're really interested in that connection, here's what I think is about to happen when I do this reconnection with this person. Here are the things I'm concerned about. So to get to the most likely scenario, you need to create 2 crazier scenarios. The least likely and the most unlikely. So positive and negative. So something really negative, you might be, one person had said, I want to get back in touch with my cousin. And the cousin, you're just worried about, what the cousin might say. And so the most negative thing that could happen as you're journaling this out could be like, all right, my cousin could yell at me. My cousin could, call the police on me. My cousin could sue me or say he never liked me or her. And then on the most positive side, I, get back in touch with my cousin. My cousin's so excited to hear from me. I get written into their will. They give me their house and their boats and all the wonderful things. Also not likely. And when you journal the most likely scenario, they're happy to hear from you and just get back in touch. So this is a way to frame getting out of your own triangle. Is there a right way to connect? Don't apologize. Do not apologize. You have nothing to apologize for. You have done nothing wrong. So connecting and reconnecting should be as normal as anything. And so when we think about reconnecting with our dormant ties, the first is gratitude. Hence, we are about to enter into a gratitude season. All the different holidays are coming up. I am grateful for right? And then actually sharing positive memories. So what's really interesting, what do human beings want when it comes to connection, right? Like genuine, honest connection, is that they found in what they did with dementia patients using a approach called positive reminiscence, where they take a photo or a particular memory and actually made them more present. And so the way that each of you can connect and reconnect with the people that you've already interacted with are using these two things. I thought of you because one of my favorite memories of you is, I still remember that Italian restaurant where you got that tomato stain. Or gratitude. You know, I remember when I was a first year associate and you helped me on that brief. And I still use that today. I now teach people what you taught me. Here's the thing. As you dive into gratitude and positive memories, we don't care how we're thanked. Often like, oh, what should I use? Should it be a smoke signal? Should it be a carrier pigeon? The research shows we are equally happy to receive our gratitude, direct message, text, email, letter, or dare I say a phone call. So really what is keeping in touch about is recognizing the people that we've already interacted with and starting our own gratitude party and memory sharing party. And we overthink this to the dawn of time. I'm not good at keeping in touch. Well, it's because you're in your Bermuda keep in touch triangle. And so the more we lean into the things that we have, and guess what? This was in the New York Times last summer. Text your friends, it matters more than you think. So then we even undervalue our memories. Back to psychology. University of Pittsburgh, 13,000 studied, saying, how do you think about connecting with folks that you've lost touch with? We undervalue our memories and our gratitude. And they specifically call this out in the study. Your biggest impact in sharing a memory is with a dormant tie. That's like, yes, this is where we all have opportunity. So let's go back to our quadrants. The people that you've listed, what memory are you going to share? Let's get into the chat. It's all clean. This is, this is New York State Bar Association. So like, this is all stuff that we could, tell our grandparents but yeah, what memories are you planning to share of the people that you lost touch with? This, in its truest form, is what keeping in touch is about. So give me some memories. Like who are the folks that you're, the folks that, that first boss, that cousin, what memories do you have of those people? This is the highest, best use of your precious time, is actually sharing that. And that's joy. That's connection. That is what we need in this holiday season and for out. All right, let's see what we got. How my childhood friend first befriended me in grammar school. We were on the playground and, I dropped my ice cream or, I love that. I love that. First time we befriended ourselves. And that's the value of friendship. That's social connection, is saying, I still remember that. I still remember what, and that meant something to me. And thank you. That is awesome. How you befriended your first friend in grammar school. Love it. So these are the opportunities that you have in front of you. And the more you sit with this, dare I say, and the social science shows this, it's going to make you feel better. So I initially went to write a better networking book. And now I'm here with Jennifer talking about wellness, because the social science is so clear. Friendship matters, whether it be professional friends or personal friends. how my cousin made me breakfast on my first day of law school. I can smell the eggs or the quinoa or whatever it is that was on there. How did you take your coffee? For me, I take my coffee black with a little cinnamon. It's those kinds of things. That's awesome. The fact that your cousin made you breakfast on your first day of law school. Love it. Love it. All right, let's keep going. So we all have commitments here. You know, bring me in if you're not going to be ready to do the work. So the first people you're going to reach out to. What memories are you going to share? How much time are you going to block in your calendar? So each of you have 30 days from today. So today is, let's go to the calendar, November 17th. So you could easily get this done over Thanksgiving. We have time, but I'll give you till December 17th. You know, when I was, in my work, when I'm working with folks, when they think about their networks, I had one of my clients put into their calendar, they called it CC, half an hour once a week, CC, and it stood for connection calls. The person would pick one person to either set up a meeting or at least leave a voicemail with that human being. So we often think, oh, I don't have the time, when in reality, for those that are still at firms and billing in 6-minute increments, it just takes 6 minutes to think of a human being and text the memory. 6 minutes. That's all it takes. And you've just done something that's good for you and even more impactful for them. So I often say, write it down. How many of you have, so we can talk about LinkedIn to the dawn of time. I joined LinkedIn in January 2004, right? When LinkedIn came out in the summer of 2003, my member number is 141,272. So, and when LinkedIn came out, I said I was in business school, my wife was in law school. I said, oh my God, look at this. They have something that is the digital application of the strength of weak ties. And she looked at me and she said, not now, I'm studying for torts. And I said, LinkedIn. And she's like, torts. I said, LinkedIn. She said, torts. I was like, all right, fine. She eventually joined LinkedIn, and we also got her into a file. What is the love language of connection and getting ourselves organized? It's an Excel file. It is. The love language of any contact management system, the love language of any customer relationship management, it always downloads to a CSV, which becomes an Excel file. So for those that have their Excel file, awesome. For those that don't, start an Excel file. And however you want to organize it, you will be glad that you did. Because what we're really talking about is, one, identifying the people you already know, like, and trust. Secondly, what are you doing? You're sharing numbers. And then the third thing is a central repository of those people. And so your Excel file allows for you to do all these different types of things. And so your relationship with your Excel file will help your relationships. So dare I say, open one up and start putting names in. All right, key concepts. This is something I say to myself every morning when my kids get to go to school. Who can I thank today? That is my intention for the morning. Somebody is worthy of my appreciation. Somebody is worthy of my thanks. A daily activity. So we often think about gratitude and gratitude journals as an activity where we write what we're grateful for and we don't share. I'm saying, take it a step further. Go share your gratitude. Personalize it. Your 4 steps. Who's the person? Don't apologize. A little bit of nostalgia, and give them the time to get back to you. Your prompt. I still remember when. Good use of your time. We all have this concept of we think we don't know enough people. That is not true. Add it to your calendar. And don't forget to journal out so you can remove yourself from your personal Bermuda keep in touch triangle. My wife and I have a podcast. It's called Parents at Work. So If you're looking for a fun, new, exciting way, if you are a parent or know parents, our next segments are coming out will be moms and dads, general counsel that are coming out soon. So stay tuned for that. This way you can keep in touch with me. Every month, I have a monthly newsletter where I'm just talking about all the great things you can be doing, keeping in touch for your career, for your personal life, for your business development. That is my LinkedIn. That is my Instagram. And of course, all the things I've talked about come from my book, Relationships to Infinity. You can get it on Amazon. It comes as a paperback, Kindle, and audiobook. So I'll be happy to take some questions now, Jennifer, as we go into and lean into all of our keeping in touch activities.
Thank you so much, Jason. We'll see if any questions come into the chat. And just so everyone is aware, I will be emailing out a recording of this program, as well as some materials that Jason's provided, and these the links to his contact information as well. So everyone that registered today will get an email from me with Jason CC'd, so you'll have his email as well. And that includes everyone that wasn't able to make it live today. We'll keep this open for more questions, also for conversation. We we talked a lot about connection today. Everyone has the opportunity to unmute as well if we'd like to open it up for conversation. But it looks like we have one question here, Jason. How do you handle a friendship where you've tried to stay in touch with someone, but more often they're the ones that aren't really reciprocating?
Yeah, I hear that a lot. I do hear that a lot. And it's one of those things what you can control for, what you can control for. You don't know what they're going through. And often there might be something in their own life that's not allowing them to respond. But nonetheless, and I've seen this in my own relationships with clients I've worked with, my wife's, is that, you take a step back, but at certain times of the year, maybe even now, just saying, I'm still thinking of you. You ever want to hop on? You've meant something to me. But you're not alone in that. But typically it's like, all right, you need to take a step back because something's going on in the world that you just don't know. So, and you're right. Since we've got a nice group here, if anybody wants to unmute, talk to me, I'll talk back. I promise. In high school, I was voted most talkative, and that was a self-awareness moment for me. I didn't realize I talked a lot. So I've been working better on my listening ever since then. It's been 30 years in the process. I'm getting there. So, or you can do a chat, up to you.
Yeah, no rules.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to ask a question, as you're thinking about your own keeping in touch activities.
I did want to say, Jason, I really appreciated that prompt, or the couple prompts of there's no wrong way to reach back out. I think something that often happens to me, and I'm assuming others could relate to, is that kind of anxiety that comes once you've ignored a text from someone
Right.
for too long, and there's so much in you that wants to respond, but there's that voice in your head that says, "I waited too long." And there really is no wrong way. You could either jump right into whatever they responded to you, or you could just jump in with one of those prompts you provided. I don't think, it might come up in a conversation where you have to maybe hash out some feelings behind that dormancy. But I think ultimately, no one is necessarily upset to receive those prompts like you posted. And I also think about it from the flip side of how nice it would be if I received a text from someone. And so I try and, I always in one of my practices is to swap those perspectives, to say, if I didn't hear it from someone for a really long time and then they just randomly popped in with a memory, that would feel really nice. So
Yeah.
I think I can do that.
All righty. I'm an extrovert personal life, but professionally I'm more introverted. Any tips? Ooh, I like this one. I'm an extrovert personal life. Any tips on how to bridge the gap? It's funny that you say that because, people think that I'm some massive extrovert, but, what am I going to do this weekend? I'm going to spend some time with my wife and we'll share a glass of bourbon quietly. And that, so personally, I'm much more quiet than I am professionally. So I would take a few bites at the apple, or whatever fruit that you're thinking about. So when you think about your professional world, what are your intentions for 2024? When you think about your own goals, so it could be either, you might be in-house and you think about your own career progression. Which bourbon? Oh, that's all right. So Blanton's or Weller. My wife is a big fan of Woodford Reserve. So we, play along that continuum. I got a thumbs up. Thank you very much. Actually, our elementary school here in DC has a whiskey club for the parents, not for the kids. We get together and raise money. But back, it's funny, back to bridging the gap professionally. I think each, when you think about your week, when you think about your month, there are a couple of ways to raise your professional interactions. Who can you reach out to within your own organization? You might be a law firm or in-house, to ask them for a coffee, or to ask them to catch up and chat. You might be thinking about in 2024, I really could get more involved in this professional association. Raising your hand to volunteer for the next conference, raising your hand to volunteer. You know what? I'm going to help with programming, or I'm going to help with membership. So it's really taking these incremental baby steps. What's one more thing you can do? And then add that into your calendar. So does that answer your question on bridging that gap? I'm a big fan of baby steps to getting to habits, right? Even in writing my book, my wife's the attorney. She wrote a book called Back to Work After Baby. Like, she writes for fun. Like, she writes poetry and she's writing and writing and writing. For me, like, writing, are you kidding? Like, get me on the radio, get me on the TV. Let's do a webinar. I'm like, I have to write. And so it really took a set of accountabilities, my editors giving me deadlines, and getting over, forgive my language, Brene Brown talks about that shitty first draft. Like, this first stuff I was putting out in my book, I'm like, oh my God, this is terrible. But you know what? As I was writing, and Dan Pink, he's like my man crush. Dan Pink once said, you have to write to figure it out sometimes. And so, and even getting in that habit, on Saturday mornings at 7:30 in the morning, I was like, all right, I'm going to get my cup of coffee with my cinnamon, and I'm just going to write my 1,000 words. And what started to happen was 1,000 words turned into 5,000, 5,000 turned into 10,000, 10,000 turned into 20,000. And all of a sudden, I had a crappy manuscript, all because I decided at this particular moment in time, I'm going to do something and get my mindset ready for it, that I was going to do that. So it's the incremental bite at the apple. So, and hail to bourbon.
Jason, if you don't mind, I want to jump onto your response to Beth a little bit as well.
Okay.
I think a lot of times in strong professional roles, especially for lawyers, people are often trying to fit themselves into this box of what it means to be a professional. And a lot of time that tends to strip people of their personality and who they are as an individual. And that can be that can contribute to feeling like not like yourself in the workplace, and therefore not being able to connect with others in the workplace. So I think the more we can bring ourselves, in a professional manner. I'm not saying to act as your, cocktail party self in the office, but certainly there is room for you to share a little bit about your personal life, share some anecdotes, and I think that's where we build connection, where you might start realizing that people that sit on committees as you, or are part of the same departments, might have some similar interests outside of work as well. And I think that can kind of just humanize people and allow people to connect more.
Yeah, I mean, it's, somebody had written earlier about, getting back in touch with a yoga friend. And I was like, oh, yoga, my wife does yoga. And, And honestly, if I'm doing too much running, like I'm all about warrior one and warrior two because my hips are hurting. Right. And so already I'm not a yoga fiend, but at the same time, I have that connection because I know other people that do yoga. Next question was, any tips for preventing burnout as you follow these approaches over time and have more and more people to keep track of? And that's a really great question. It's like, oh my God, am I opening Pandora's box where I have to get back in touch with every person I ever met? And the answer is no. Really, no. It's probably a small subset of everybody that you ever met. And so, and guess what? You might be a litigator. There might be a regulatory filing. There might be something where, you know what, for an entire month, or an entire, season, or, for 4 months, you're not keeping in touch with anybody because you're just trying to, stay afloat. So I say to you, like, give yourself a little grace, give yourself a little grace because these are opportunities for you. And if you have a little moment, you're like, you know what, I'm going to share a memory with somebody. Who wrote in? Exactly, Jennifer. I've met people socially. When I tell them I'm a lawyer, they say, you're too nice to be an attorney. It's funny. My wife's a healthcare regulator. My wife is a healthcare regulatory attorney. And people look at her and they're like, what? You speak English? What does that mean? I think it's one of those things where I think there's this perception of what attorneys are. And in reality, attorneys can be anything, including kind, which is okay. So thank you for sharing that. I think that, and I think we all can be a little kinder, especially in this season. And that creates a lot of opportunity for us, and the social science backs that up. So yes, you can be a smart, wonderful, successful, and kind attorney.
I think so much often comes back to that golden rule: treat others how you want to be treated. And it really is that simple sometimes, to just connect in that way.
Yeah. And it's like, you want to hear from me because I liked you. And it's okay if you don't want to hear from me, but I still want to keep in touch. Yeah. So, and as we get older, a lot of things get in the way of those things. And it's funny, one last thought. I love recess, the concept of recess. I'm still, to the extent my fifth grader allows me to drop them off at school, and I pick them up, and like all these kids are just running around and playing. And then, one of the things I'll ask him about his day is, how was recess? It's like that set period of time where you're supposed to connect with people. And as we get to adults, we lose that. We don't have that set period of time. We need to create it for ourselves. What's personal recess as an adult? What's professional recess as an adult? How do we lean into those intentions? And that takes work. It does. But at the same time, when you do it, you feel better. So I'm just going to share my screen one more time for those that want to sign up for my newsletter, connect with me on LinkedIn, follow me on Instagram. And all you have to do is just say, hey, Jason, I saw you on your webinar. And I will say, great, let's keep in touch. And I promise I won't ask you to move in with me. So it'll be that easy. So.
Perfect. And I will send all that material out as well next week once the recording is available for us. So no one had to screenshot or rush to type any of that in, because you'll get that as well. I think we're all set on questions here in the chat, but if any pop in, we'll get to those. But Jason, thank you so much for spending time with us today and talking about the importance, and not only in the importance of staying connected, but offering some tangible ways to help us stay connected. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure, Jennifer. And from the bottom of my heart, everybody here online, keep in touch.
Thank you, Jason. Take care, everyone.